Here's a GE 5-tube AA5 clock radio from probably the middle 50s. This set's kind of neat in the fact that it has the Roman numerals on the clock face, at least to me I think so. And I've already done a little bit of cleaning up on this set. This little silver piece with the GE logo was coming up, and I took the liberty to re-glue it back down. This is just a little simple kind of run-of-the-mill 50s rear firing speaker clock radio. It's got a outlet on the back for a timed, a 110 volt output. You can hook up your lamp if you wake up a little bit better with light shining in your face. You can time it on this thing. So anyway, this is unfortunately another victim of what we in the antique radio community call SMD, silver mica disease, or degradation, whichever term you prefer to use. This set, I've already tested it and turned it on. It has the sound of a thunderstorm sound and gets no reception. And this ought to be a fun project to do because it's a circuit board layout. As you can see through the cracks, you can see the circuit board traces. I forgot to mention this is a model 940. Like I said, I believe I looked this thing up. It's been a few weeks since I did, but I believe it's 1955 if I ain't badly mistaken. So anyway, I'll demonstrate what the problem is. And as you hear, it's got the telltale signs of a thunderstorm sound in it, which is very characteristic of SMD, bad silver mica capacitors and the IF transformers. And you can tune around the dial here and not pick up a single thing. So let's pull it apart and see if there's anything we can do with it. Okay, and here's the chassis, just a printed circuit board with 5 tubes and 2-gang tuner, so nothing special there. It's got a large metal plate on the behind that circuit board, but I believe I should be able to get these IF cans out, which is what we're going to have to remove the silver mica sheet inside these and replace them with a mica capacitor. Now I'll have to pull the schematic up before I do all this to see if it lists the value of the capacitors in there. And if not, I'll try to see if I can't take a capacitance reading from the cans to see if I can determine what size capacitor is going to be needed. Typically a lot of people use anywhere from 100 picofarad to 150 picofarad is what I found in the past. Is kind of a typical value for these, but not always. With this being a 5-tube set, I'm thinking it's probably going to be kind of standard size, but it's always better to check the schematic, to be sure. Okay, and I obtained the schematic for this set. This is the same as model 940, 941, and 942. There's probably just a color difference or something in them. They don't denote the capacitance in here, which is pretty typical because these parts, these IF cans, were available as replacement parts. You just replace the entire IF can if you were going to make that repair. So, like I said, the typical value of these are anywhere from probably about 100 picofarad to 150. I'm gonna see if I can't take these cans out and get a capacitance reading. It would be between pin 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. And it shows you a little diagram of the IF cans here. This is representative for T1 and T2. So that would be here and here. And this is the typical capacitance reading I get off of these IF cans. We're on pin 1 and 2. I'm turning it off, but you can't get a reading off these things. The mica has degraded and you just can't get a reading off of them. This is typically what I get. So I guess we'll just chance it, kind of see what happens. I'll try and pull that mica sheet out of the bottom of that can there and see if we can at least get that out of there. And I'll just put the can back in and solder the capacitor to the board. And here's our little IF can with the sheets removed. This one's a very difficult one. You end up having to take this loose from there's some melted tabs right here on this side, and on this side there's a piece of one there. And the difficult part about this is you have to, once you get this little wafer thing loose here, try to have to slide it up enough to get up under there and work, and most of the time it doesn't work out because this thing ends up coming off of the base here, the winding tube, and, for your inductor, your slug in there. And it ended up coming off, and it took off about 3 of the wires, so I ended up having to go back to the schematic and reference all the points on there, and anyway, ended up getting it resoldered, all the little wires, and that sheet removed, which is that little sheet there. There's another piece there. You can see it's blackened from being degraded. So with that removed, we'll put our little transformer back in its can here and put it back in the radio.
Was just and devout, waiting for the consolation of Israel.
Got it turned back on and getting a signal. I just got these 100 picofarad tacked in. Check them out. It's receiving a signal, but still has a crackly thunderstorm sound to it. So this other IF can is going to have to be done.
He didn't come into that temple every day. Didn't need to work.
It's kind of, the sound's kind of calming down compared to what it was.
God. And then he said this.
And you can still hear the crackling.
Why not?
Not really picking up much. Just that real close by station.
Rising again of many in Israel.
So yeah, I think we're gonna have to do the second one too, just like we did the first one. You can hear it still crackling. So let's go ahead and desolder this second IF and do the same thing we did the first time. And here's our second IF transformer. I was able to do this one a little bit easier. I guess after you do one, you kind of get the hang of it. But basically, just pull it out of the can and break these tabs off here. You'll have 4 of them on this type of can. 2 on the other side, these 2, and then you'll pull your center thing inductor out. You run the risk of breaking wires this way, but these seem to be in pretty good shape, so I just picked this stem up out of this bottom base here. Just picked it up, kind of laid it over, popped this out here, and then the legs, as far as that goes, the easiest way I found to remove these legs is to bend them up and bend them back down. You may have to bend them up and down 1 or 2 times, but they usually snap right off pretty easily, so got rid of that one. I ended up cutting this one here, but yeah, all this is out, and yeah, as usual, the white is what it should look like, and the rest of it is in pretty bad oxidized condition. And before I put this thing back together, look at what I found back here, hiding back here behind the tube and the IF can. Yeah, we're gonna have to change that little ticking time bomb back there. Okay, got it all back together. I did check the tubes and had one weak 12 AB6 tube, and so I replaced that one, and we're back up and running. Everything sounds good.
See how much you could save.
This little knob over here, you got a tune.
And easier, free with Renter's Warehouse.
The dial scale is on this little knob here.
Price your property. They're going to find you great tenants. They'll collect all the rent and take.
Camera seems to be interfering with this thing.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. You can pick up a Super Start battery. That's an exact fit for your vehicle. Analysis today. And Renter's Warehouse is the professional landlords of rent estate.
In the full rate carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Still
750 out of Atlanta.
If you're traveling northbound, earlier accident in the process of being cleared as you approach 10th Street in Jackson County. We had that earlier accident now cleared, but we're still seeing some heavy delays as you travel 85 southbound and approach exit 137. Also seeing construction delays in Cobb County if you're traveling 575 southbound. That's going to continue until you merge onto Interstate 75. And in Henry County, watch for road work being set up 75 southbound between Jotico Road and Jonesboro Road. Will Garrett, WSB.
Pay attention.
Yes, we're the most underrated 3-0 team. 175 of the game right now. I know it's still early, but nobody picked the Ravens to be right.
Continuing with you, and I'm curious, what do you do on a Sunday after a race? How do you get away from it to kind of clear your mind?
140 years, more people have chosen 8. Contract for licensing and terms and conditions. Visit ADT.com. She's kind of a big deal. Some people, it's only because of how she looks. She sticks her tongue out a lot. But there's just something about
All
her that
right,
makes
there's
people
my
crazy things.
1955 or 1956
Or waited in line
GE
for hours.
940 model
Little Bud,
940 clock radio.
An Instagram celebrity
Playing
with a
again.
following
Now
bigger
it's
than some 90s television stars.
cured of SMD,
It all
so
started
hopefully it'll be
because she was
good for
adopted. You can't buy a
good
best
while
friend like
longer.
Lil Bud, but you can't
Thanks
adopt
for
one.
watching.
Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
Now for